Bada bing, rolling out of the shot, but here we are. Welcome everyone, Maté talk time. Excited to be before you all. Hope you have an awesome drink. Mine, of course, actually I'm going traditional today. I've got my classic Argentinian style of mate holder. Yes, why not? Melbourne has been, so those who know Melbourne know that we get 4 seasons in one day. Everybody jokes about it in Australia. I mean, it's like, yeah, so what? And it's been weird. I mean, we're meant to be in spring coming into summer, so the weather should be just gloriously pleasant. On Sunday, it was hot. We were at the beach, believe it or not. So 30 degrees for us here on a Celsius, or 86 Fahrenheit. So super sunny. I mean, to the point it was even uncomfortable being at the beach, you know, the heat, the sun, blah, blah, blah. And the place was crowded, 1 million people everywhere. The next day, Monday, it rained non-stop to the point. So we've got this cool little group. These are our OT, what do I call them? The OT reveal team or something like that. So we've launched a new fragrance brand called Olfactive Travel. I'll tell you a little bit more about that shortly. And there was a conversation going on and everyone was saying, one person wrote, I'm preparing the ark to load everybody on because of the deluge that we're having. Someone then wrote, are we allowed to bring fragrances? And then someone said, of course, but only buy 2. And so there was this image that was created, which I thought was quite cool. So here we are, all the perfumes going into the ark. I naturally wrote and said, well, what about OT? I mean, surely we're allowed to bring a couple of OTs, olfactive travelers, onto the boat. And I have to show this because Trent, the gentleman from Olfactive Melbourne, so there's a podcast here. Here's the handle. Check him out. He did some awesome work. We actually had a chance to be interviewed by Trent and his wife Robin. Anyway, he created this, and his response was, "OT are hand loaded in. They don't get to touch the ground." So I love that Noah himself is actually bringing in the OTs, and there's all 3 of them, which is pretty cool. Anyway, I just thought I wanted to share that because I'm appreciative of Trent and the effort he went into creating these AI images. All right, so at the end of this episode, I'm going to do a final wrap up of all things new releases that I discovered both in Italy and in Cannes. So some great things. Today is the big. We're finishing strong. So if you like big, you know, punchy fragrances, things that, you know, then you're gonna love this. You were meant to interpret what that means. Announcements at the end. There's a lot of announcements. One is I'm getting a lot of questions, which is really cool. Have you guys released a fragrance? The short answer is yes. The brand is called Olfactive Traveler. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more at the end of this episode. And what does that mean? The good news is that we did do a pre-release. Those orders, I'm going to tell you about what's happening for Australia and also the world. The next question I'm getting is, why is it sold out in the US? I will give you the answer to that at the end of this. George Zaharoff is coming to Melbourne, so I'll let you know more about the meetup that's happening in Oillataguerre. We've been quietly working behind the scenes with Mr. Zaharoff, and this is something pretty exciting that I want to share with you, so I'll tell you more about that at the end. And then there is the members raffle that will happen next week. Become an NFC member of the channel. What does that mean? I'll tell you at the end. Boom. They're all my announcements for today, so it's a big lineup. This is a buckle up. We're going for about an hour on Maté Talk today. All right, so what I want to do is share with you guys a range of fragrances that I discovered, as I mentioned, both in Italy and also when we went to Cannes. Some of these are new releases, meaning that they've just come out, and others are new release to me. Australia, we are very slow at getting stuff into the country. Europe and the US, you guys are very lucky. You have, you know, as soon as it gets released, you guys have access to it. So I'm going to show you 2 fragrances that are already in circulation, but they're new to me, and I want to put my 2 cents against them because I'm really enjoying them. And then the others are new releases that you probably haven't come across just yet, but I want to put them on your radar because they're really exceptional and enjoying wearing them. The first one is my good, excellent friend, which is MEO FUSCIUNI and ISOLA. This is one that I was getting a massive amount of jealousy, as everybody was posting this when it was released earlier in the year. People talking about this new transition. I had experienced it at Exxon's, but it was still in refinement. I don't think it had macerated completely. The robust nature of that yuzu that he's using, which is a very unique citrus, hadn't quite come forward yet. So I did experience it in February, but this is now the final rendition, and everyone was talking about it. As I said, I did not get access to it until I went to Italy in September. Anyway, let me just cut. My brain's going to restart. I'm not going to restart. I'm going to keep going. So for those who are familiar with MEO and MEO's work, he has been slowly transitioning out of his dark phase. So if you look at his earlier work, there is a sense of heaviness in his scent profiles. He loves using very heavy molecules, vetiver and patchouli, certain ambers. He loves the smoky, sort of deep resinous sort of elements. Even when he does a floral, so take something like Onco de Ton, which is a celebration of florals, magnolia and things like that, champaca. He does it in such a dense, sort of, sort of dark, brooding kind of way. I've become very good friends with MEO, and over the years, I've sort of seen his transitioning and his skill, sort of with these different fragrances that he's been releasing. I've done a number of different episodes in his old town of Salso Maggiore Terme, which is, if you think of Parma, where Parmesan cheese comes from and stuff like that. So he's pretty much in the center in the center of Italy. And it was a very, it was a forested area. It was, Salso Maggiore was literally somewhat isolated. I mean, Sandra and I had an opportunity to stay in that region. Beautiful, a landscape and like I said, forested area. I mean, you drive for miles and there's nothing around, sort of thing. And that, so his fragrances lent to that atmosphere. If he used to call the location there his temple. It was dark, and it had a meditative element or feeling to it. There's a lot of productions. Have a look at all the episodes that I've created here, and you get a feeling for what this place was like. Dark, as I said, wood, very heavy in its presence. And the fragrance reflect that sort of feeling. Now, he's moved to an area which is in the Italian Riviera, so Liguria. Think of Cinque Terre for those people who have had an opportunity to see imagery on when it comes to that. So he's in that space now. He's very close to the ocean now, and the light is different. We had an opportunity, we did a recent tour with the KM Fragrance Tours. We went to Italy, we went to Salso Maggiore Terme. We actually took all our guests there. And the light is different. And now, because filming is what I do, and I like filming different things, the light, the colors were very different to what it was in Salso Maggiore Terme. And I'm not even imagining this. So have a look at this production, which is Viole Nere. And we filmed that in Salso Maggiore. You can see it was an overcast day, but the colors are subdued and different. Whereas now look at this kind of footage and you can see that you almost feel like the beach is just around the corner. So I'm giving you a very long story to let you know that he is transitioning. And this is part of his transition. He's a person who actually feels the location. He feels the vibrations. He feels the energy of a place, and he purposely moved away because he's now coming out of his dark phase. This is stuff that he talks about. He's coming out of his dark phase into now this new light and a different landscape. I don't think that I know of he's given it a name as yet, but he's definitely moving or transitioning away from this heaviness into something, to this new landscape. And Isola is his transitioning across. This is a celebration, so Isola means island. It's a celebration of Sicily, but also a celebration of Japan, a place that he absolutely adores. He has a lot of really strong core memories when it comes to Japan and things that he shares. Now, it's interesting. There is a fragrance that he created called Chiavuro di Amori, which is the Viaggio, what is it called? Nota di Viaggio number 3. Beautiful fragrance, but very melancholy. There's a deep melancholy in that scent profile, and that is his memory of Sicily. But there is a heaviness in there, and there is a touch of sadness in the scent profile. Even in his own words, something happened in Sicily which he has never shared, which is fair enough, that it took him a long time. I even said to him, this is years ago, I said, I would love to go to Sicily with you. We can film in Sicily and you can tell your backstory. And he's like, no, there's too much sadness there. So this is him returning to Sicily now as he's moved through his life and obviously resolved, I guess, those ghosts in the past. And this is his celebration or his tribute to his homeland. So he's a Sicilian-born man. Isola still has the male touch to it, meaning that it has, when it dries down, it does go into much more deeper notes. He loves to play with vetiver, patchouli, things like this, and you can feel that going into those places. I don't get the same sort of woodiness from his earlier fragrances. If anything, I'm getting more of a musk sort of element to it, but retaining that beautiful citrus note from the beginning. So let me, So I'm now about 30, 40 minutes into the dry down. When it opens, it is absolutely glorious. This wonderful citrus burst, but not in your classic Italian sunshine kind of way. So there's a number of beautiful Italian citruses that are bright and vibrant and full of energy. Here, there's still a thickness to it. And the only one, I really took some time to what am I trying to, how do I share that in a way that you can imagine? Think of pulp. So when you squeeze orange or lemons or whatever it may be, and you're getting that wonderful citrus sort of vibrance emerging, it's not that. It's the actual pulp. If you were to grab the pulp, the density, even the feeling of the pulp in your hand is the kind of citrus opening that this fragrance has. So it doesn't have that, the sparkle. There is more of it's a male touch. That's the only way I can define it. Now he uses yuzu, but he's also using a number of other citrus notes. I think there's mandarin and bergamot and other elements here, but yuzu obviously is his nod to Japan and Isola for Japan. As I mentioned, I'm about 40 minutes into the dry down, and I'm getting that dense, musky element to the fragrance, that more pulpy citrus piece to it. So the vibrance has come off it. It's now going into more of a deep, meditative male element to it. I was wearing it in Florence when we were in Italy. The weather was very hot. It was very stifling. It was a very hot day. We were there for 3 days, and it was exceptionally hot. Now I was wearing this quite regularly because we had just come from Salsa Maggiore, and I was just celebrating the fact that I was able to have Isola in my hands, and the scent profile was glorious. Sandra, a number of times, mentioned to me, I love what you're wearing. Which one is that one? I want to wear that one too. So there is that lemony yuzu open, but tempered backwards, and the muskiness of it. Beautiful as an evening fragrance, getting a just great presence with the actual with the fragrance in a summer landscape. Interesting. I've been wearing it in preparation for today over the last couple of days, and Sandra's like, "What are you wearing? I don't like it. I'm not a fan of that particular fragrance." Now Sandra is my in-house Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, because she does, and I'll share more. She always, not that she's fussy in that she changes her mind. She's allowed to. She's a woman. She flips. There's moments where she's like, "I really love that one," and then I'll be wearing it again. She's like, "Ooh, what are you wearing?" So this was. I think the difference is this performs better in a summer landscape. I find that even for me, the musk element in cooler weather seem to be a little bit heavier. I'm not getting as much of the citrus vibrance from it, whereas in Florence, the citrus piece of it was actually quite stunning. I was even getting compliments from the other guests that were with me. A gentleman from Boston, he was mentioning also, he's like, well, what are you wearing? He goes, which male are you wearing? So it definitely has a male touch to it. Works beautiful in a summer landscape. It has great longevity, great presence, and I am so happy to have ISOLA in my collection and transitioning through this new phase when it comes to all things MEO FUSCIUNI. I'm super excited. I'm keen to see where he goes from here. What are his next things? Actually, I can already tell you, because when we were in Salsa Maggiore Terme, here's some photos, we had an opportunity to, Kevin and I, to look at his upcoming projects, and I'm telling you, the man is in a different place. It's so exciting to see him transitioning. You can see a vibrance and energy from him, and it's pretty exciting, the stuff that he has coming up. It's still male, so he's not going to transition to something else. It's still very male, but there's a new exciting thing happening. Boom. All right, that's that. The next one is, so if you look at this Maté talk here, it's number 173. Kevin and I had a chance to film in Milan. And this, so we went to a boutique called Art and Perfume. Here it is. And the gentleman's name is Gianluca. Now he introduced me, because we don't have him here in Australia, the BALCHAUD fragrances. Now there's more coming in when it comes to all things BALCHAUD. We're working on a project right now. Wait till you see what's happening there. And he showed me this one fragrance here, which is Mango CUIR. And this is stunning. Now I know this was released last year, but you need to, if you haven't come across this fragrance, please, I'd strongly recommend you try to hunt this baby down. If you love the mango note, which has become super popular, but if you love leather, the balance between these two notes here is immaculate. We did a recent lineup, so here are 10 in 10 leather fragrances that we love. Just so you know, we had some comments come through going, what, you forgot this or you forgot that. It's true, but there's only 10 fragrances. So there were a number of fragrances that we had to put aside, and this was one of them, because I really wanted 10 minutes. Okay, so 10 fragrances in 10 minutes. We went overtime. So I wanted to spend a bit more time talking about CUIR, Mango CUIR, because it really is something that is flying very low on the radar, and it needs to be observed. At the time, Gianluca, when he sprayed it, he said this, I can't remember his exact words, but he basically said, this is a statement maker. This one here will turn heads. This one here creates the, people will turn around and be drawn to you. And 100% yes, 100% yes. So what I love about this is the balance. Now let me just, okay, all right, okay, let me, some comments. Wowie, wow, wow. So that's how I define this fragrance. It's a wowie, wow, wow, because the moment you spray, if you love leather, it's just glorious. I found that I was wearing, I found that it wears really well in summer, but also wears brilliantly well in winter. So sometimes I find that leather fragrance, especially if they're a little bit more on that leather touch, can be a little bit heavy for a summer landscape. I spray this and I think of summertime, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what exactly where my brain goes to. So this is a fragrance that transitions well all year round, but amazing in winter. Right now, it's just glorious. And what it is this, that it's, again, perfectly balanced. The fruit note so the fruit is present. The mango is there, but it's not pulpy. Sometimes you get a mango that is, succulent and a little bit, overdone sort of thing. Whereas here, the mango is just above the greenness of the mango and just below the pulpy, sort of overtly sweet. It's just perfectly mango. It's just this gloriously mango scent. And then the leather is, again, in that beautiful scented position where it's not overtly animalic, but it's not too underneath where it becomes more of a suede. This is genuinely a beautiful leather fragrance. If you love leather, this is glorious in that balance with that fruit note. And it's a beast. This here will dominate. I purposely put it on this side. I've got nothing else. Yeah, nothing else on this arm other than this fragrance, because I actually, in preparing, I put it with another fragrance, and I couldn't detect it, because this thing here is just dominating the whole landscape. Now, I get from this a very, I think, monsoon. So just to bring you into this same sort of thinking. So I think of a wet tropical location. It has this humidity, dampness to it. And I think it's the mango fruit, but with the leather does have a earthy, sort of wet soil element to it. So it's, as I said, it's not an animalic leather, but the leather is definitely present. Now, I had, and this is where my brain goes, all right? So I had a privilege of, as a young man, to actually live in Papua New Guinea. So there's an island called New Britain. I was in a town called Rabaul. I was there for about 6 months. And it was the most amazing experience for a 19, 20-year-old to ever have. One thing that I did everywhere, and here's some, I'm looking at the photos because I want to narrate this properly. I've always loved climbing trees. As a kid, it was just always, so as a 20-year-old, it just extended to that. This is a photo of me with a climbing coconut tree. So the locals taught me how to climb a coconut tree freestyle. So I would put a rope around my legs and then climb up. This is me obviously drinking the coconut after my expedition up. There was a local narcotic element, which is called betel nut. The locals would eat this quite regularly. And my neighbor, true story, would make me climb, not make me, but because I loved climbing trees, he'd say to me, this is where we lived, and he'd say, climb this betel nut tree and get me the betel nuts. So this is me climbing up the top there. But one of the things that we had in where I lived was a massive mango tree. And this is a photo, you can just see me there. The photo quality is not the best, but there, that's me in the tree, and this is me with my little harvest of mangoes. This is where this fragrance takes me. So one thing that occurred whilst I was in Papua New Guinea was this monsoon season, and the sound of lightning, the sound of thunder and the incredible crack of lightning that you would get over that period there was nothing that can compare. It's almost like a movie set, meaning that it felt artificial. This sound of this thunder cracking through the landscape, and then this lightning, the way it would just shoot through the sky. I have never forgotten this. I remember the first time I experienced it, we were indoors and I jumped up. I'm like, what in the world? And they're like, don't worry, it's monsoon season. And I remember going outside and seeing this light show. It was just the best. So this is what this fragrance takes me. The moment I spray it, the moment I'm in spraying it again now, it takes me to this moist, not petrichor. So it's not a petrichor scent profile. It's a humidity. There is a dampness. There is this wet earth, but this beautiful mango and this wonderful leather, and the balance in here is spectacular. Again, I go back. You need to hunt this baby down. This thing here is, and I actually think it's probably the best seller within the brand, but a massive, massive recommendation, and one that I would want to put on your radar. When it comes to performance, I'm just seeing here, so I guess the bones of it, performance, longevity, all that sort of stuff is amazing. It'll take you 24 hours without a problem. Great presence and great projection. And again, go back to that Maté Talk 173 and you can hear Jean-Luc talking about it, and everything that I'm saying, he pretty much echoes in what he said at first. I'm echoing what he said. I'm gonna do a cut because that was, this is gonna be a fun Maté Talk. Bop, and back. Now, there's a brand that I absolutely love called PENHALIGON'S. When I first got into niche, I deeply fell in love with these guys, started collecting them. I think what it is, I love the look of the bottle, the great little bow tie in the classic ones. Then there's the portraits with those animal heads and how they look. Then there's the fragrance themselves. I really enjoyed it. It's a great, and I'll go a little bit more into this. It's a great fragrance for new recruits and semi-pros to really deep dive and explore. Then there's the backstory, William Penhaligon's and the 18 something or other, Bop. The fact that they got a royal commission. There's so many different elements to this that when I first got into niche, I just fell in love with all these marketing and sales and then the fragrance themselves. Now there's a fragrance in that earlier lineup called Sartorial. It's a celebration of Savile Row and well-made suits, and you know it's quite a it's one that's not shared a lot. I think there should be more noise around that particular fragrance. I do love it. It's one of the early ones that I got. And this one here, the Cut, is its companion. So I will do an episode coming up. I want to showcase both Sartorial and the Cut because they're perfect fragrances for suiting up, essentially. That's how I love to use them. The Cut, the best way I can describe this fragrance, so it's an aromatic fougere, so that gives you a quick insight, but there's a movie called The Gentleman, and I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, you need to. It's probably one of the, Guy Ritchie, I love his work, and this is probably one of his best work that he's done. The characters here are phenomenal, and the way that they dress, I love the way everybody is dressed, whether it's the male characters, whether it's what's the lady's name? Michelle. The way she's dressed is so cool. So everything about this film is fantastic. Now, I would want to assign, and I know I love doing this fragrance to Charlie Hunnam's character. So Ray is wearing the Cut. And the reason for that is, so this fragrance and his character is that he's present, and there is presence to him, but he's not dominating the scene. So in the movie, he is the number 2 to Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is in fact wearing Mango CUIR, so you know he's the boss. He's the guy in charge. Whereas Ray's character, he has presence in the film, and when he needs to dial it up and to give a little bit of bump, then it's, you know, he has that strength. And I find that this fragrance does exactly that. It is a fougere. I find that fougeres can be somewhat predictable. The construct is something that I'm familiar with. What I love here, the twist that it comes in with, is that it has this minty green sort of element to it, which is supplied both by mint and also by the basil note, this herbal basil note that's in the fragrance. As it dries down, it does go into the more classic woody, sort of fur-like sort of element to it, even thinking like a cypress or things of that nature. Awesome fragrance to suit up with. So this has been my, you know, if I'm going to a meeting or if I'm going to dress up, put a suit on and tie on, the Cut is the one. It's very, it's easy to love. It's easy to appreciate. My son came over recently. I think I've mentioned before that at home I have our counter, and I always put fragrances there. He grabbed this one here, and the look of it instantly draws your eye. Sprayed it, he's like, wow, this is really nice. Showed his wife, who's very particular. So his wife there are certain things that she likes and a lot of things that she does not like. And this is the one she's like, wow, that's beautiful. Which one is that one? So this is a really classic masculine fragrance, something that is, as I said, a confident maker, something that will make you, it has presence, but not over the top. So it's not something that's going to fill a room with the scent profile. I do find that I get great longevity out of it. I get so comfortably 12 hours, but I've been wearing it again in preparation for today. And I woke up this morning, so I was wearing it yesterday, and I could smell the Cut. I'll go one more. Last night, I don't know why, I was rubbing my chest, and then I put my hand to my nose, and I'm like, oh, the Cut, you smell so good. This is me, you know, half in, half out of dreaming, but I was aware that I was wearing the Cut. And again, this is now like 20-something hours into wearing the fragrance. Perfect for the office, perfect as a meeting, perfect as a suiting up fragrance. I find that personally not as a casual fragrance. So I mentioned yesterday I was wearing it. Yes, it was present, but it felt out of place. It didn't feel right. I was too casual. I just had a t-shirt on and whatever. And it's not one that I would wear casually. And I think maybe I've already aligned it too clearly to suiting up and wearing something nice and wearing the cut. Boys, big recommendation. I would put that on your radar. Now, one thing that is, yesterday I started my French lessons again with my French professor, Monsieur Luc, and we were talking about sartorial. He's the fragrance that he has. I put to him the cut, and one comment that he made, which I want to address, is the Penhaligons don't have like big presence, and they're not a room filler. I genuinely feel that this is the style of perfumery, and the point that I shared with him is I find that the English perfumes or the English perfumery tends to be very subdued and less bombastic in its approach. Big, loud, and look at me style of fragrances. And actually the best comparison is, imagine wearing a pink suit, a man wearing a double-breasted pink suit. Everybody's going to see you, whereas wearing a really beautiful, well-tailored, subtle suit, but when people come up close to you, they see the quality, they see the stitching. That's English perfumery for me. I find the Ormond Janes very much lean into this style of perfumery. The moment you draw close to that individual, whoever's wearing an Ormond Jane, you can detect it. It's beautiful, but it's not a room filler. I find the same with the Clive Christians. Their early pieces, like 1872 Masculine, is another classic in that regards. Just beautiful scent profile, but again, as you draw closer to the individual, and I find that the Penhaligons, and in particular, the cut is designed to be that. Something that is refined, and as you draw close to them, you're like, wow, what are you wearing? So I am a big fan. I do like all things Penhaligon, and I will come out with an episode where I'll talk about both sartorial and the cut. They're very different to each other, but again, celebrate the whole thing about tailoring and things of that nature. Now, the next one that I would put forward, this is now for the girls. This is one that Sandra has been loving. This is Daphne's Bouquet. Interestingly, a man can also wear this, except this man cannot. And that's because Sandra has adopted this as her fragrance. One thing about Sandra, and I mentioned before, not that she's fussy, she just has very particular views on things, and things that she really, and this is what I love. Sandra, if she does not like it, she will tell you. She doesn't sort of mince her words. She'll just come in, just bop, just let you know quickly. But when she does love something, oh my gosh, you know that she is, all in for it. And this is one that I'm smelling constantly. This is one that she is constantly reaching for. Again, I have a fairly healthy library of fragrances, so there's a lot of choice. I don't like wearing the same fragrances again and again over, one day after the other, whereas Sandra will just, if she adopts something as her new favorite, she double downs on that particular scent profile. Going back to the gentleman, who's the character, absolutely Rosalinda Pearson or Michelle Doherty's character, Dockery's character, is wearing this. It has, so the three key notes that are in there is Daphne, the floral, and we'll go into that. Then there is moss, and then cassis, or this blackcurrant note. Now, this is not, so the cassis, that blackcurrant note can be a little bit fruity, a little bit sort of syrupy. This is not it. The cassis just lends enough of a softness to it, so it doesn't become an overtly green or sort of harsh fragrance. The Daphne note, I don't know the Daphne flower. I did a little bit of research on it. It's meant to be a very sort of light floral bouquet. There is some greenness in it, and this is definitely something that I'm detecting from this particular fragrance. The best comparison that I can give it, if you want to sort of put into some sort of scope, think of Love in White, so by Creed. The only difference is that it doesn't go so green. Love in White can be very green and has that sort of that white floral element to it. This is not it. And then the other one is Fleur Narcotique, which also has that cassis sort of note, but it doesn't go as juicy as that. So it's sort of, if both of these fragrances had a child, it would come out with a Daphne's Bouquet. The thing that I love about it is that it has, on Sandra, it has one great presence. I talked about English perfumery, so it's not a room filler, but it definitely has a lot more volume in the room when Sandra's wearing it. I'm a lot more sensitive to it when she's actually wearing it as her fragrance of the day. The green elements and then the floral elements are beautifully balanced between the two. It does start off a little bit on the sort of like almost like a petitgrain, if you want to, neroli, if you want to sort of also get some sort of idea of what this Daphne might smell like. It has a sort of a bitterness, but a sweet element in there. There is a greenness, there is a beautiful floral touch to it. As it begins to dry down, it does settle into that cassis note, but it keeps those green sort of vibrant, actually like a spring shower. So think of the beautiful scent that you get from that, the light rain and the greenness of the garden and things of that nature. This is what this fragrance really celebrates. It's again, a man can comfortably wear this, but for me, when I smell this, this is Sandra. It has this beautiful, clean, crisp element to it. I'm finding that on what I'm detecting in the air is that there's a comfortable 8 to 10 hours when it comes to the presence of the fragrance. I did ask Sandra for twice, 3 times. I asked her for, give me your breakdown. She just dismisses me. She's like, I don't know, I just like it, you know? So if that is something to go by, the fact that Sandra likes it, that in itself is like a massive win. Boom, 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 that's pretty much it. Anyway, both of these fantastic new releases from Penhaligon's, one that I would definitely recommend, and actually these as a companion, because I know that Sandra, when we've dressed up and gone out and stuff like that, she wears this, I'm wearing this, and we are a Penhaligon's power couple. Boom. All right, I'm going to stop one more time. No, you know what? I'm going to keep going. All right, the next one I haven't sprayed yet, and that's because this is a beast. This is the new fragrance from Boyce 1920, Art 1920. And I've just fallen in love with this fragrance. And I have a soft spot for it. I'm trying to understand why exactly I love it so much. I came across it, so part of the Italy tour that we did this year, we had this grand experience. I mean, look at these visuals. So we were in Florence. We were in an area or a location called Villa del Fontanelle. I think that's correct, and here it is. We were overlooking Florence. This used to be an old Medici villa. So the Medicis would leave the hustle and bustle of Florence and come and stay here. It's been reconverted into this beautiful, just, you know, convention sort of landscape. There's a hotel, there's a restaurant. I mean, here's some more visuals. We had an incredible meal with the beautiful people of Boyce 1920. This whole experience was fairy tale-like. When we posted this, someone wrote a comment, is this perfume heaven? And the short answer is yes, it was actual perfume heaven. Just everything about this landscape lend so well to the experiencing of these perfumes. Now, and it could be that this fragrance, because as I said, I experienced it for the first time there, has locked into my olfactory memory this whole experience, because every time I smell this one, the moment I spray, it takes me into a place of happiness, and I literally am drawn into the fragrance and the joy that it brings to me. Now, the perfumer for this is a gentleman by the name of Arturetto Landi, and I want to tell you a bit of a story about Arturetto. He is one. So here's an interesting, have you heard of Arturetto Landi? That's the number one question. Does this name sound familiar to you? So sit on that while I talk about the fragrance. The best way to describe this is a fruit oud fragrance. And I know that this has been done a few times. I mean, the instant fruit oud fragrance that you think of is oud maracuja, with that passion fruit oud sort of lineup. I don't own that. So I have experienced oud maracuja. It's good, but I always say this, and that is I like speaking from the heart, because to remember a lie is very hard. So if a fragrance doesn't capture me, and this is not to say that the fragrance is not good, all right? And another example, I get a lot of questions about this, by the way, is Frederic Malle's Portrait of a Lady. It doesn't resonate with me. And I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance, it's just it doesn't resonate with me. So I find that oud maracuja is a good fragrance, but it hasn't resonated with me. It doesn't sort of stick to me, and I don't really like feel for it. So if you want an oud, a fruit oud fragrance, and maybe if oud maracuja hasn't stuck to you either, then I'd recommend to you this one here. The opening, if you look at the notes, it looks like an explosion of a fruit basket. What I get, these are the distinct elements that I pick up on the fragrance, is a berry-like element to it. And when I say berry, I'm getting like a blueberry, cassis. I'm also getting like a raspberry. These are juicy, succulent fruit notes that I get, sorry, berry notes that I get. Then I also get like a tropical nature to it, and I distinctly get like a mango or even a passion fruit element, but again, that pulpy sweetness, not the acidy side of things. And then the other element that I get is like a melon, like a honeydew or some kind of melon element to it. These scent notes literally come in and come out on that opening. So I find that there is this wonderful bouquet or basket of these fruits. Now I am going to spray now because I want to share that. So I haven't sprayed anything here, but Mango CUIR is dominating this arm. Oh, I just sprayed Daphne there. Okay, there we go, right here. And instantly in the air, there it is. And you get that juicy mango with the melon, passion fruit. And then I'm getting those berry-like elements to it. This is gorgeous. Honestly, everybody, and the sunshine that it brings, the happiness that it has. This is just a beautiful, present fragrance. When it dries down, it does go into, the oud is already present, but not, those fruit notes are definitely coming forward and a lot more present. The oud is in the background there, not quite revealing itself too deeply. As it dries down, it does go into that beautiful oud note. Those fruit notes are still present, but now obviously the oud is dominated. It does go more woody. It is still sweet. There's no animalic nature to it. It's not there's no sort of like a dirtiness to it in any way. It is actually, if anything, it's very celebratory as the bottle looks. It's beautiful. Sort of the coloring that's on this is somewhat translucent, but it has this sort of shine and different shimmer to it. This is exactly, for me, how the fragrance, think of fireworks. This is how the fragrance begins to evolve on me. I found that this is beautiful for summer, so again, wearing it in Florence, but also glorious in cool weather. I mean, this is one that I can wear at any stage, so I can be dressed down, t-shirt, whatever. This fragrance is phenomenal. I can dress myself up and, dress myself up. I can dress up, I can, put a suit on. Fragrance is phenomenal. Don't overspray. It has a lot of presence. You're going to get 24 hours without a problem. I only spray 3 times, and this fragrance is just, I don't even wake up in the morning thinking that I'm smelling Art 1920. It's detectable, it's discernible, it's quite pronounced. Let me tell you a story. So anyway, bottom line, please go out, test this baby. She's gorgeous. in preparing for this, I had a sort of, I'm thinking or anticipating possible comments that might come through. And one of them is, oh yeah, but it's like Oud Maracuja, or it's a dupe of, or copying Oud Maracuja. All right, now let me tell you this. So this gentleman here, so I asked you before, are you familiar with the perfumer Arturetto Landi? Now, Arturetto is one of these individuals that flies really low under the radar. During Cannes, there was a party, we call it the Italian, so a lot of Italian brands have their own suite. And on this particular evening, all the Italians, we were having a party. Now, I saw this gentleman sitting by himself, and I thought, Arturetto's here? I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, I walked up to him and I said, Arturetto, I am a huge fan of all your work. Now, if you look at the way he was dressed, you know, very unassuming, super chill kind of guy. And he looked at me and he says, do you know who I am? And it took me back a little bit because I thought, have I actually said, did I misunderstand who this person was? And I'm like, yes, you're Arturetto Landi. He took me by surprise with the comment. I'm like, you're Arturetto Landi. He goes, do you know me? And I said, yeah, I know you, bro. It's like, you're one of my heroes, one of my perfume heroes. He says, because nobody knows me. He goes, I'm a ghost. He goes, you know what a ghost perfumer is? And I said, yeah, I know what a ghost perfumer is, because I'm a ghost. And I was very cheeky. It was very witty at the time. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back. And I said, well, Arturetto, I can see ghosts and I know who you are and I know your work. So let me put it into context. So I had to take this photo. So Arturetto Landi is the creator of this fragrance here. Hence why it's called Art 1920. They took part of his name and put it into the actual fragrance. So the reason why I know Arturetto quite well is my relationship with MEO FUSCIUNI. We've had a lot of chance to spend time together, and he attributes his skill to Arturetto. Arturetto is actually his sensei. He is the master that he's been learning. Now, this is interesting too. So Arturetto does not take apprentices or anything of that nature, but he saw the work that MEO was doing and really admired because MEO is a self-taught perfumer. The background is that he was a chemist and didn't enjoy what he was doing and then transitioned across into perfumery. So Arturetto actually took him on as an apprentice. And so I've known about Arturetto through this connection. Also, if you like all the Pantheon aromas, it's Arturetto's hand who has been behind those. If you like some of the CUIR Eternos, and I'll go back. So let's go back to the Oud Maracuja story. In fact, the very first sort of semblance of this Oud Maracuja sort of signature was created by Arturetto Landi. In 1922, he came out with Hardcore by CUIR Eterno. This is a beautiful classic balance between that fruit and then that oud animalic note. I'm going to talk more about this because I'm going to do a lineup on this oud fruit and give proper respect to Arturetto because he's the guy that really kicked off this whole sort of this whole expression basically. And Oud Maracuja came out in 2023. Hardcore came out in 2022, and this is, in a way, Arturetto's follow-up when it comes to that oud fruit sort of interplay. As I mentioned, the opening of it is succulent, is a celebration of all these different beautiful fruit notes. Don't think herba pura, because herba pura does have also those very sort of Mediterranean fruits and basket-like sort of element, or fruit basket element. So push that aside. This has more of a woody seriousness as opposed to this musky sort of a little bit over the top sort of element to it. Herba pura is a beautiful fragrance, I love it, but these are two separate expressions when it comes to that explosion or that celebration of fruit notes in the opening of the fragrance. Boom. It was quite a lengthy element there. That's it. So that's my That's my 5 recommendations of new fragrances that I've come across. 3 of those are brand new, as I mentioned, and then the other 2 are fragrances that are released this year, but I've only just sort of been able to discover them because I've been able to get them in in Europe. I hope you enjoyed that. I do look forward to your comments. Write your comments down. Actually, I'm going to do announcements soon. But for those people who just wanted to stay here for the review portion of it, I'm going to move on to some other things. But stay, please, because I've got really cool things to show you. But if you like, you know what, I'm done. Cool. Thank you for your company. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love you to. It's a great support to the channel. But I'm now going to move into the announcements. But first, a break, and then I'll come right back. And back, closing this baby down. Start off with, so for those who might not be aware, Kevin and I have released a new brand called OLFACTIVE Traveler, and the whole idea behind it. So to give you a quick sort of summary, we've been doing the KM fragrance tours for the last 4 years. We've actually done 5 tours in 4 years, believe it or not. This year we were in Italy, and we were celebrating all things Italia and these gorgeous brands here, MEO FUSCIUNI, Boys 1920, and also the perfume LUCA Maffei. Now, one idea we had last year is to create a fragrance line to celebrate our KM fragrance tour business. We wanted to celebrate Italy. We created 3 fragrances to celebrate the different cities, Milan, Florence, and Rome. This is Dolce Milano. Each one has its own personality and character, but there is a DNA that's running through them. There is a story, not a storyline, but there's a DNA that runs through these fragrances. And this is the magic of LUCA Maffei. Now, if you want to know more about what all this means, because I have had some people reach out and go, are you doing a fragrance? Have a look at these productions here. This will give you a breakdown as to this one here gives you an insight as to the concept, the backstory as to how we came about in creating this perfume line. Then we created individual episodes for each of the fragrances. Dolce Milano, which is a beautiful woody gourmand. Then Bella Viola is a very sophisticated floral leather fragrance. And then finally Aroma 271, which is, I deem it as a soulful amber. It's really such an incredible fragrance, such a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. We also created 2 additional episodes where we now had friends and people who are close to us experience the fragrance and share their views on it too. So you can get a perspective on others and some of the comments. You know, it's a lot more of a documentary style of production. So if you want to know more about the fragrances, you can have a look at those particular productions. It is a 100 ml bottle. The packaging is behind me there. One thing that we did do is create what is called the OT Traveler set. And it's a leather-bound, beautiful case. The idea behind it is that we see ourselves as travelers, and so we wanted to create, well, actually, Kevin is the brainchild behind this. All kudos to him. Wanted to create a travel set more exotic or more impressive than just, a cardboard box with a couple of, 2 ml samples. There are 8 ml testers of each of the fragrances, or 8 ml sticks of each of the fragrances. You can use it as a traveler, you can use it as a discovery set, so it's a beautiful item. Now, we recently did a massive promo, a pre-sale, and this opened up to the world. US, we had some problems, and I'll come back to that in just a second. So I want to let everybody know, both from Australia and across the world, who did jump in on that pre-sale opportunity. Orders within Australia will start going out next week, with the rest of the world following that very closely. Okay, so everything is now falling into place, and we are beginning to ship as of next week. We did say on the website, I've had a few questions on this, when's the order going out? We did state on the website that it was happening mid-November, and I'm really happy to say that that's exactly what's happening. So as of next week, we are excited to get out the Olfactive Traveler orders that have been placed. Now, if you are interested in placing an order or having a look at, you can jump on our website As I mentioned, the Traveler's Set is a great way to experience the fragrance, a great way to discover what the fragrances are about. And then the actual leather case that it comes with is something that you can keep and something you can have as you travel around, etc. Boom, now US. So what happened, I've told the story, I'll tell it again for those who may have missed it. 3 days before going live, we had everything lined up for the whole world to participate in this pre-sale experience, a pre-sale event. And the third-party distribution company that we're using said, can't do, all these complications with tariffs, yada, yada, we can't do the US. And put us in a little bit of a tailspin because we didn't have any sort of plan Bs in place because we've done all this work to go with these people. Anyway, long story is that we are still moving through this process. We are getting closer to doing something in the US, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, say something and then have to retract. So if everybody within the US who are keen on participating with Olfactive Traveler and experiencing these fragrances, ideally next week I can hopefully have something a little bit more concrete that I can share with everybody. One thing that we did promise everybody in the US is that the very strong pre-sale offer that we had, which was free delivery, which is, as you can imagine, perfume is not cheap to send anywhere around the world. But anyway, free delivery, plus with every full bottle, you will receive a Traveler as a complimentary gift, which was an incredible promo for those people who participated. Good on you. I did say that that promo will never happen again. Other than the US, that promo is done. It's not a cheap promo to do. But we wanted to go in, we knew that people who were supporters of the work that Kevin and I do would have jumped in. And so we wanted to say thank you quickly to these individuals and to, to say thank you quickly. Anyway, US, hopefully next week I can make a much more concrete announcement as to what's happening there. But we're working hard. The intention is to get everything lined up before Christmas. We want, our dream, as every night when I kneel at the edge of my bed and do my prayer, the dream is, or the wish is, that we can actually get all this stuff out to the US before Christmas, and that's the key. So again, world and Australia next week. As of next week, we start to roll that out, so you'll get it with plenty of time. Boom. All right, let me just wrap this baby up. Now, my battery's flashing. I'm gonna have to stop. I'll be right back. I have to put a new battery in. All right, there's one, I just looked across. There's one thing that I will talk about it now, but I'll speak about it in more detail. A little surprise that we're doing with all the Pelle Violas is that we had 10 cards signed by LUCA Maffei. Here's the visual. And we are planting these randomly within the Pelle Violas. So some almost Willy Wonka style, chocolate factory, where there's so every Pelle Viola will have one of these certificate of authenticity saying that the iris that we're using is from AFM's private farm, which is called Iris Blue. It's low yield. The scent profile that it has is very robust. The creaminess and the floral element that this brings to the fragrance is something exceptional. It gives it that sophistication, as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the scent profile. So we are authenticating that it actually is from that farm. And one of the things that we asked when we were with LUCA, Kevin and I, is can he sign 10 cards and plant them in so that we can plant them randomly across the orders that are going out. So 10 lucky people will have a signed card. We'll also include this photo of LUCA so that you know that it's actually LUCA's signature that he put across these cards. Next week I'll talk a little bit more about this, but this is an exciting concept that we're putting together. Hannah's filming B-roll right now. The last parts. Okay, so George Zaharoff is coming to town. This is for Melbourneites and Aussieites if you are wanting to fly across to meet the great George Zaharoff. He's going to be at Oligarch this coming Saturday. The times that Oligarch have put forward is from 11 till 5. I'm not sure whether he's going to be there that whole time. If he is, he's a boss, he's a champion. I was going to say he's a freaking champion because he is. I'm like, that's commitment. But George is like that. He's very much about connecting with individuals and people who are fans of the work that he does. So he will be at Oligarch. They are normally a great event. I'm going to go across too. Look forward to seeing you guys there if you're able to make it. But anyway, catching up with George at Oligarch this Saturday. Now, one thing that I will talk a little bit more about in the coming weeks is, so I do a program, not a program, I do a concept called the Discovery Series. It's something that I really enjoy doing, something that is also resonating with everyone. And that is a chance for you and me to enjoy fragrances across the world in real time. The idea behind it is that you get a chance to have a discovery set essentially, and I navigate through that discovery set alongside the two of us together. The idea is that I do talk to screen, I ask you to compare notes or compare different fragrances. I take my time. It's really about unboxing different brands that I really love. I've created a number of series here, so you can see that this is something that I'm super passionate about. George loved this concept, and he actually reached out to me and said, what are the chances of doing something unique with NFC? So there's you can see the NFC logos right here, and also Zaharoff. Now, the 5 fragrances that are in here, I've actually hand selected myself, meaning that these are ones that I really, really love. And then inside here is an atomizer with another fragrance inside it also. So I'll be sharing more about this. It's called the Zaharoff Passport. And I'll share more about this new concept that's coming out. But this, George sent it to me prior to him being here in town. He wanted me to have a look at it beforehand. So I'll give you more detail in the coming weeks about what that is all about. Boom. Now, the last thing I want to share is in regards to the members of the channel. So you can become a member of the NFC channel. It's super cost effective. It's like 4 Aussie dollars. Here are the prices across the world. Now, next week, I will be doing a spin. One thing that there are 3 elements when it comes to becoming a member. 1, we say thank you internally because we appreciate the support. 2, you have access to the NFC Discord. So if you want to have a jump in with like-minded individuals who love all things perfumery, etc. So there's a great conversation in there at this moment in time. There's a beautiful camaraderie between these individuals. And the last thing that I love doing is spinning a wheel with all the members and then doing a giveaway. Let me send you something is what I say. Normally what I ask is you tell me what you love and I will then curate this and create something for you. But next week I'll do that, but I will also add this 18 mil Boyce 1920 of Art 1920. So this is the 18 mil version. I got this when I was in Florence, and I always knew that I was going to do it as a raffle. As I said, I fell in love with this. This is absolutely gorgeous. So next week, if you do become a member, or all members of the channel will receive this as part of the gift, including other fragrances that, you tell me what you like and I'll curate some other stuff for you. Boom. That's like 7 hours of Maté talk. Thanks everyone. I look forward to your comments. I do enjoy reading, and actually I've been really good at responding. So yeah, put your comments in. Tell me the things that you're enjoying. Have you experienced any of these fragrances here? If you have, I'd love to hear more. And otherwise, I'll see you guys all on the next Maté talk. Bye everyone.